Hello everybody, BeMetalways here. Welcome to this weekly heavy metal album review. This week we are looking at Ghost Impera, released by Loma Vista Recordings on March 11th, 2022. And I'm also gonna do an album ranking at the end. But before that, a quick background on the band. The Swedish occultists Ghost have taken the rock slash heavy metal world by storm since 2010 debut album Opus Eponymous, and then their following albums Infestissumam for 2013, Meliora 2015, and Prequel 2018. All of them achieved great commercial success and also critical acclaim. They soon became a headline act. Ghost is easily recognizable, owing greatly to the eccentric on-stage presence. 7 of the group's 8 members, named Nameless Gulls, are part of the band, and the Ghost mastermind Tobias Forge portray himself in a prosthetic mask and makeup as a different character with each tour album cycle. I remember seeing them live in 2010 during a summer festival at noon. Yes, the middle of the day. They were actually the first act in that stage, and I must say I was already truly impressed. I also love their first album, hate the second one, and really like the other two, and I'm gonna rank them at the end of this entry. So let's see first what 2022 brings us. Impera is their 5th studio album and is themed mainly on the rise and fall of empires. It is described to take place hundreds of years forward from the 14th century Europe Black Plague era of Ghost's previous album Prequel. It features 9 proper tracks and 3 short instrumentals for a total of 47 minutes. As with all but one of their albums, Impera opens with a short instrumental named Imperium. The song builds up quickly, leading us into the powerful 5-minute upbeat rock anthem Caesarion. Spillways, which is probably my favorite song on the album, is a short, catchy song with a contagious beat. It's a lot of fun and will do wonders live. Hunter's Moon, which is featured on the soundtrack of the 2021 film Halloween Kills, and then also Call Me Little Sunshine, were the first 2 singles out of Impera. Both are super well designed hits. The structure, the hooks, it's just simply well crafted rock songs. We also have Watcher in the Sky, which dials up the heaviness a bit more with some super heavy riffs and chugging guitars. But of course, as almost everything that Ghost does, it features some very catchy melodies. Before we get into the next single, 20s, we get first the Dominion short track, which is a symphonic dark instrumental that flows very well into 20s. 20s is a mixed results for me personally, to be honest. I like the heaviness of the opening riff and actually the verses, but the children's choir singing 20s simply annoys me, so that song kind of loses a little bit for me because of that. Another thing I want to comment is that I was initially deceived by the first bars of Respite on the Spira Fields because I thought it was kind of just a long ballad, but actually it's a longer song with some ups and downs and a nice touch to close the album with a song slightly different and more ambitious than the other ones. Now, I'm not sure if all or some of the musicians are the same as in the previous records, but I felt that musically this is the best Ghost album yet. Very interesting guitar and drum work throughout the album. Impera was produced by Klaus Auklund, who also sat behind the desk for the band's great Meliora record. Ghost will be celebrating the release of Impera with the cleverly titled Imperator character by Tobias Forge. Now, just one point to highlight as I'm being picky here, but Darkness at the Heart of My Love is the only song on the album that I skip every time now. It's just too boring for me. Other than that, I really can't complain about this album. It misses the heaviness and darkness of the debut album, but that's just a matter of taste. So let's wrap up here. One of the things I love about Ghost is how concise they are. The songs are short, the albums are not too long, and yet the songs feature changes and variations and go to different places, all of that while being super catchy and dark or heavy at times. It's a powerful combination, and it's not a surprise that they have grown so much so quickly. To me, this is an 83 out of 100, a very good album from a band that will continue to grow and increase their fan base while not alienating the older ones like myself. So that's it about Impera. Now, if I look at how does that compare with the other albums? So from worst to best, I really re-listened to all of their discography this week, and I must say that indeed Infestissumam, their second album, it's really bad for me. I really don't like that album. It's so slow, so boring, and I have to say it's far from all the other albums. I will rank it as number 5. Then I go with Prequel, the previous album. It's also a very good album, and actually all the albums in the middle are very close to each other, but I'll put it in there because Impera, the new album now, it's my number 3, and it's a little bit better than Prequel in my opinion. It's a bit more consistent from start to finish. I think Prequel has some ups and downs at moments, and that's why Impera, the new album now, is my number 3. Number 2 is Meliora. I really liked this album. I think it was, for me, was a comeback album, as I mentioned, because I really don't like the second album, and made me stay with the band and not abandon them because of the second album. And obviously, only one option left, the debut album. For me, that's still their best album because it's fresh, it was different, new, and heavy, and just almost a fantastic album. It's one of the best albums of the 2010s, and for me, it's their best album until today. So that's it for today. Thanks for being here, for listening, and BeMetalways.